After the longest time that I can remember, we're finally getting Insomniac's second installment to their Spider-Man game. And honestly, it looks really awesome. We get to play as Miles and Peter fighting their rogues galleries, and we get the black suit too. Dude, it's freaking gorgeous, but... Wait, I feel like I've seen this before. So Insomniac's sequel to their PS4 Spider-Man game is coming out on October 20, 2023. Yes, that's the full date because you might be watching this after it comes out and you're probably going to review some of my points. By the looks of the gameplay trailer, it looks fucking awesome. You get to play as both Miles and Peter going around rounding up both of their rogues galleries. Kraven the Hunter will be the main villain of this game, for sure, but I can tell you that he'll be shoved to the side as a second to last boss fight, as I explained that in a bit. But we also have the Lizard, Wraith, the freaking Prowler, let's go! Taskmaster, and probably more when the game gets released, or another trailer gets dropped. Now remember when I said Kraven is most likely going to be overshadowed by another Spider-Man villain? Who might that be, you ask, my dear viewer? Well, it's definitely gonna be a boy. Now this is heavily hinted at as we get to use the black suit, which looks awesome by the way. And this art released by, I think it was IGN, it was also copyrighted by Marvel, of Miles and Peter going head to head with the dude himself. Now if you haven't played the first Insomniac Spider-Man game for an odd reason, or probably you didn't get the chance to play it, which is fine, the game had a post-credit scene where Norman Osborn, which is president in this universe, has the symbiote bonding to Harry Osborn, his son, obviously, which is dying. Yep, Harry Osborn is gonna be our Venom for this sequel instead of Eddie Brock. Okay, I personally don't mind that because I am a huge fan of his Venom in Spectacular Spider-Man. Yes, I watched the cartoon because it's awesome. I'd also love to see Norman Osborn become the Green Goblin in this universe, even though it's not going to happen, most likely, because he's sort of the president here, so he's probably going to be like an evil Iron Man like he is in the comics. I think it was an Iron Patriot, was I right? I think my comic book knowledge is right. I'm not sure. Anyone can fact check me on that. Leave a comment down below if I'm right. But anyways, enough tangents. Now, where was I going with this point exactly? Well, if you've been around the Marvel video game scene as long as most of us have been, you'll probably saw the trailer for this gameplay and went, I feel like I've seen this before, yeah. And my dear boy, yes you have. Web of Shadows! Yes, one of the best Spider-Man games, no, video games of all time, in my opinion, is what we're going to go off on today's video. Now, if you're a new fan to the Spider-Man video game scene, or on the younger age, here's a quick summary of Web of Shadows. Spidey fight Venom, symbiote bond to Peter again, Venom splurge goo on New York, city gets infected, fight, Venom sacrifices himself, save the world, swing off into the sunset with the girl. Got it? Good, because there's a lot of endings to this game, but I'll only summarize the two main endings, because I ain't going back and getting them all. I mean, I could watch the alternate endings on YouTube, but if you'd like to see the other endings, you can go do that yourself. No, I don't have the time, nor do I have the patience to get all of the endings in one sitting, which sucks. But anyways, here's the second ending. Spidey fights Venom, symbiote bonds to Peter again, Spidey uses symbiote more, symbiote influences his decisions, Venom splurges his goo in New York, infecting everyone, fight. Spidey chooses Black Cat over MJ. Shocking. Peter sacrifices Venom willingly by tossing him into a wind turbine, or a propeller on a helicarrier that he's on, and Peter now rules the Venomized New York. Caveman brain no use big words, when little words do good. Now here's a more in-depth statement about Web of Shadows. This is going to be the hottest take on the internet, but I feel like Web of Shadows sets the bar for Spider-Man games in the future that want to have the symbiote influence Pete's way of thinking. Canonically, the symbiote doesn't influence Pete's thinking, it just amplifies his like anger issues and stuff, yada yada yada, all that. It doesn't have a heavy impact on his decision making, it just amplifies the thoughts he was already thinking, but that's a whole nother video. As we finish every main mission in this game, we are given a choice. Do we want to go the normal Spider-Man route with the red and blue suit, great power comes great responsibility, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, or do we want to be different and enforce our authority in the black suit? Now, here's what I feel is the best part of this feature. Each choice influences the outcome of the game and your career as Spider-Man. The more you use and choose the black suit outcome on each mission, the more your allies will push you away and despise you, and so do the people of New York. But the more you use the red and blue suit, you get the more traditional Spidey outcome. Everyone loves you, you get the girl, all that jazz, the thing we're all used to seeing Spider-Man get. Now, you can mix in the black suit decisions with the red and blue suit decisions on specific missions, and you will get a different outcome. But it also depends on the missions that you use the black suit in and which missions you use the red and blue suit. But that's a whole different kind of possibility in this game that I haven't tried out myself yet because, like I said, I don't have enough time to play around. The skill tree for each suit is different too. Same executable commands on your controller or keyboard depending on where you play, but different combat style. The red and blue suit always had a more tame and acrobatic combat style. As for the black suit combat style, it made you want to go ham on everyone, no questions asked. The wall combat is also really cool too, but it does get nauseating when the camera decides to clip into a wall or the floor whenever you try to cling onto a wall. That kind of got on my nerves, but despite that, the wall combat was actually a really good addition to the game. Now, I can go on for hours on explaining how Web of Shadows is an absolutely awesome game and why you should definitely go and port it onto your PC, but that's not what you're here for, so we're gonna go right back to what we were talking about. So what's my point here? Well, since Spider-Man 2 has introduced Venom and the Black Suit into the Insomniac verse, it would be awesome to have the choice system from Web of Shadows or something similar to that while playing as Peter Spider-Man. I'd love to see the outcome and effects it has on both his relationships and his career as Spider-Man at the end of the game. Now, I know it's a reach because it's not a solo Spider-Man game. We also have Spider-Man Miles Morales or Miles in the game, which is going to be a bit wonky for the choice system, but I'd also like to see how the choices affect Miles and Genki, his guy in the chair, and how they react to Peter with the symbiote and the choices he makes along the way with the symbiote influencing his decisions or amplifying his decision-making capabilities, but you get the idea. Either way, they're definitely going to get this thing off of Pete somehow, as Venom is definitely going to be the final boss of this game. But let's not rule out the possibility of Miles having to fight a nearly fully venomized Peter and you having to choose between playing as Miles or venomized Peter. That would be awesome. Probably eventually ripping the suit off of Peter in the fight as it now tries to find a way back to Harry, bonding with him fully, and we finally get to see Venom in all of his glory. But leading up to that moment, I personally would love to see the different combat styles between the black suit and red and blue suit more, as we saw in the gameplay trailer, and the thought of being able to change between suits like we did in Web of Shadows is an awesome thing to have. It would also be really cool to see the ending choices of having the black suit ending or the red and blue suit ending at the end of every main story mission. That would still be really cool in this installment. Especially now that it could be more than possible because Insomniac is no longer hindered by the PS4 hardware and is now going to be working with a more up-to-date and modernized system, the PS5, which is awesome, saving up for an actual PS5 now. Anyways, now I can already feel that Insomniac is going to go ham on this game. Probably a much better release, because when they released Spider-Man on the PS4 way back in 2018, 2019, I can't remember, there was a lot of bugs to be said and they had to polish it up. And the second release was way better than launch, but I hope that this does go good at launch. But if it doesn't, I can always wait for the second release when everything is polished. I'll still buy the game either way. It looks awesome. Now, I know the city won't be infested with symbiotes like it did with Web of Shadows, and they're definitely going to focus on the Kraven storyline more than the Venom story. but it would still be awesome to see the choices we make to either use the black suit more over the red suit, and I'd personally love to see how those choices affect the endgame result. I'd also love to see more destruction with the black suit, as in Web of Shadows. Whenever you were in combat, the cars around you and stuff started to get destroyed as you fight, which I thought was awesome. And if I can remember correctly, whenever you were reckless in your combat or failed to save a civilian in like those mid-air type things, that would also affect your reputation on the city. I'd love to see that in Spider-Man 2, as the side missions that involve civilians would feel way more immersive if you had to save civilians in the middle of like combat at the same time fighting off Kraven's men or so. I don't know, maybe it's just me. It's definitely a long shot on the choices and multiple endings though, but it's still an awesome idea to think that Insomniac taking inspiration from Web of Shadows and implementing the things that made that game so memorable and replayable to the fans in their widely praised Spider-Man video game franchise. But hey, that's just a theory. Again, okay, yeah, well, anyways, that's all I got for you in today's episode. If you like this kind of content, leaving a like would be awesome, and subscribing and turning on notifications will keep you updated on the latest cult meetings. If you have any thoughts on my take on the new Spider-Man game, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. That's all from your boy. I hope you have a wonderful day, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.